let's dig into the training. Go ahead and open your Power Team Roadmap workbook to page 23. So here we go. We're basically at this point talking about forming a power team. We're looking for duos and trios that have completed their boot camp meetings and have begun to implement systematic visibility and are creating referrals. Okay, so this is the point where we have some bragging buddies who are being successful creating referrals. So we know that Chuck is at that point, and hopefully some others in the group are at that point as well. We certainly want you to be there. If you haven't created referrals yet, now's the time. We don't want to let any more time go by. This is our 4th session this week, and at this point, if you're implementing the program, you're having results. It's just that simple. So right now, the focus is on what other duo or trio of bragging buddies are also having success so we can form a power team. Now, if you're in a particular chapter where the activity is slow and the bragging buddies haven't formed outside of the duo or trio in your group, then we're going to either take the approach of building your chapter with the 6-week launch program to, if you're under 15 members, something like that, and we're really looking to relaunch the chapter or at least jumpstart the chapter. We're going to get involved with inviting people, which will be a big focus for us next week. But the other thing that we want to do is lead by example, creating referrals, even if it's just 2 or 3 of us, and start creating referrals right now for ourselves and the other people in the group, because that's going to motivate them to get into the bragging buddy mode, and then we can move towards the material we're covering today on forming a power team. Okay, so again, looking at page 23, our goals for lesson plan number 6 is to review the contact sphere tendency matrix, and that's what we're going to get into next. The contact sphere tendency matrix we're going to look at in just a minute, where we're going to take the work that you did on the I'm relevant exercise, identifying your best key situations and your contact sphere, and then we're going to start looking at other contact spheres that might be good for you to form a power team with. So that's our first goal. We're going to review the tendency matrix, and then we're going to talk about getting together with some other folks in the chapter, if you're at that point, on forming the Power Team Pioneer stage. So let me just talk a little bit about the webinar that, the 2 webinars that support this lesson plan. And in fact, as you see on the bottom of page 23, webinar 12 actually comes to you in 6 parts. Okay, what I did when I recorded the material is I did the webinar as if I was standing in the business services contact sphere and approaching this tendency matrix from that standpoint. I'll show you the tendency matrix here in a moment. In other words, if you're in the business services contact sphere, okay, the part 1 is specifically coming from your perspective. If you're in event services, caterer, florist, photographer, limo service, those business categories, I cover the same material but from your perspective on part 2, and then so on. So what we want you to do is pick the part of webinar 12 that is addressing it specifically from your contact sphere, and then you can go through the other ones as well to give you a more well-balanced training on how these other contact spheres are approaching the same challenge. So this is a very interesting and hopefully effective way to talk to you in your own language based on your own business category and contact sphere, and then help everybody move towards the same central goal, which is to create more referrals through each other around these 6 key situations. So we're going to spend some time right now talking about the Power Team Tendency Matrix and how that works from these different perspectives. And we're going to talk about the Power Team Planning Meeting, which is a very short meeting that you have with the other duo or trio to plan your actual Power Team meeting. Okay, so we're trying to make this extremely step-by-step and giving you all the specifics as we go so that you can follow each incremental aspect of building your Power Team. So here we go. Let's turn the page to page 24 of the workbook, and we're going to be going over material that's covered in webinar 12. These are the recorded webinars in your DVD set that I'm referring to, and we're covering the material now live, kind of bouncing around and seeing what we want to focus on today. So the power team tendency matrix. And before we dig into the matrix itself, let's just review the 6 key situations. At this point, you should know the 6 key situations. You see them across the top of the tendency matrix, and this should really be a focus for you now as you go about creating referrals for the people in your chapter and as you start training the other people in your chapter. You should be a leader by example at this point, helping people recognize that they're standing in the middle of a referral if they come in contact with somebody who's in any one of these 6 key situations. So we like to just really repeat this stuff until it becomes second nature. And again, this is an opportunity for you to create referrals, but also to start training the people in your chapter to do the same thing. So let's get real specific now with the contact sphere and key situation tendency matrix. And we'll kind of give you an example and show you how this thing breaks down. On the left column of the tendency matrix, we see the 6 contact spheres, okay? And at this point, I'd like for you to circle the contact sphere that you're in. And if anybody has a challenge figuring out or deciding between 2 contact spheres, just let me know and we'll talk about it. But the idea is that from the top to the bottom in the left column, we're listing the 6 contact spheres. Across the top, we have the 6 key situations, right? So basically, let's use an example, and that'll be the business services contact sphere. The business services contact sphere, just as an example. And we can see that the number 1 key situation for the business services contact sphere are, the business builders, people who are building a business, whether it be a new business or a current business, are the primary target market for businesses in the business services contact sphere. That's their bread and butter. They're in the business of helping businesses make more money. But what other situations can they benefit from? Well, how about the real estate key situation? People buying or selling property, as well as new construction and property management, all have different elements of business going on as they're doing their real estate business. When it comes to selling property, advertising the property, marketing the property, preparing the property for sale, there's a lot of different things that people in the business services contact sphere can add, but also the new construction and property management piece creates a lot of opportunity, whether it be for printer, the marketing person, the business coach, can all play a role in helping real estate people do the business of real estate, as well as the principles to the transaction. In addition, the relocation key situation, particularly people moving into town. People moving into town oftentimes have a business that they're bringing with them, and by forming a power team around businesses based on relocation, we can create a lot of referrals for business services. So these are 3 key situations that might be a good fit for business services contact sphere businesses. Now we're going to go down and look at some other business contact spheres that could also be working with the business builder key situation. So what we're doing from left to right is we're going through each contact sphere and identifying their number 1 key situation and then 2 other key situations that they can create or receive referrals with. So as we go down now, we're going to look at the business builder power team by looking down the business builder column and seeing which other contact spheres can do business with the business builder. So we start with personal services. Personal services, things like the pet sitter, the personal chef, errand services, many of these different business categories. may not have a lot to do with the business of building a business, but they provide convenience factors to the business builder. The pet sitter, for example, when the business builder is out of town on a business trip. The personal chef to help the business builder eat healthy meals because they're so busy building their business, they don't have time in many cases to prepare food that would be healthy, nutritious, and affordable. They eat at restaurants too often. So the business builder who understands how personal services people can be of value, not necessarily to the business of building the business, but to the lifestyle of the very busy, hardworking, overworked business builder, they can really start passing referrals back and forth. What other contact sphere can do a lot of business with the business builder? How about event services? This is really one of my favorites because if you are on this training and you are in the business builder key situation, that's your focus, that's your power team, you really need to start thinking about your BNI brothers and sisters that are in event services. As I mentioned, the caterer, florist, event planner, photographer, limo service, and even the jeweler can all be really, really helpful to a business builder, whether it come to planning a client appreciation event or a product launch or an open house. These are all very relevant products or services that event services businesses can provide to your primary target market, the business builder. So again, what we're doing, the methodology, as you'll see outlined in the different webinars, is identify your contact sphere, look from left to right to see where you can do business, identify your number one key situation, and you can see we have a different number one for each contact sphere depending on that contact sphere. That's why we go through this material. You don't have to duplicate the wheel, you can just follow the system. You identify your number one key situation, and then you just look at that column to see which other contact spheres can do business with that key situation, and now you've identified potential power team partners based on their contact sphere and your number one key situation. So real estate and finance obviously can do a lot of business with the business builder. We don't want to forget about them. And health and wellness also. So you can see 5 out of the 6 contact spheres can actually do business with the business builder. And so you can put an X in the box if these pertain to you. If you're a business builder key situation and you have people in your chapter in real estate and finance or health and wellness that you can now see as being relevant, go ahead and put an X down. And then vice versa, if you're in real estate, health and wellness, and you can see doing business with people in your chapter who are focused on the business builder, put an X there. Start making connections for yourself as we move together towards forming your power teams. Okay, does that make sense? I hope that it does. So now let's take a look at the other side of the spectrum from health and wellness. The number one key situation for health and wellness is the getting healthy key situation, right? People who want to recover from illness or injury or being proactive towards optimal health. That's the number one key situation for the health and wellness business categories. Some of the examples that we look at are the chiropractor, the personal trainer, air and water purification, nutritional products, life coach, and massage. Those are 6 examples that you see throughout the training of health and wellness business categories. There are many more. In addition, health and wellness business categories can do a lot of business in the new baby key situation. Growing families with a new baby or one on the way can be terrific sources of new business for the health and wellness professionals. And also the getting married key situation. People getting married want to look and feel their best for the ceremony, the reception, the honeymoon, and also a long, happy, and healthy life together. So health and wellness professionals love to be introduced to couples that are getting married. So if you're in the health and wellness contact sphere, you're looking from left to right, and we're kind of guiding you on the tendency for your contact sphere on which key situations you can do business with. Okay? You could also do business with the business builder like we just talked about. But what about your number one power team. You can lead up the new baby power team even though it's not marked as a number one here. That's why we're doing it in this example. Very, very powerful, the new baby key situation. You can head up that power team, networking with event services, property services. Getting the house ready for the new baby is a very, very large source of referrals for your BNI chapter. When you come in contact, whether you're in health and wellness or not, with somebody who's having a new baby, think about the carpet cleaner, the house cleaner, okay, remodeler to redo some of the rooms, the painter or the handyman to paint the baby's room appropriate colors. Okay, all of these different changes to the home can be very, very strong referral sources for the property services business categories. And then also real estate and finance. Okay, we have a new participant in the webinar today who's a mortgage person. Now, typically mortgage people, and as I said, my background's in real estate, realtors, title companies, typically are going straight for people who want to buy or sell real estate. That's their target market. That's how they're training their power team to find referrals for them. If you know of somebody who needs to buy or sell property, that'd be a great referral for me. Unfortunately, that's not going to paint a vivid enough picture in the mind's eye of your BNI chapter or your power team to really bring those referrals to you. And so by connecting to the life cycle events, the key situations, like families that are growing with a new baby or one on the way, people that are getting married, makes it so much easier for your network to recognize your prospects. So you can see that just by looking at this matrix, looking at your contact sphere from left to right, you can see opportunities to network with other contact spheres and power teams. And then looking from top to bottom, you can focus on the key situations that really drive your business, and you can start making some of these other contact spheres and business categories systematically visible to create results. Okay? In a larger chapter, what this should be stimulating and informing is reaching out to other people currently in the group who you have never or rarely exchanged referrals with, and now begin to systematically promote them. So the key here really is for the two business builder people that are on the call today, I really would love for you guys to get the event services contact sphere working in your chapter, and also health and wellness, because those can really promote the business builder. When we go to the event services person, let's say, for example, we're looking to add a caterer and an event planner. We're trying to build your group. Those business categories are currently open right now, caterer and event planner. We know that they can help the business builder by creating these different types of events. Now, chances are that when you start talking to event planners and caterers, they may be focused on the wedding business, or they may be focused on some other aspect of event services. Your goal, and what we're going to talk about next week when it comes to who should I be inviting into the chapter and the power team, how do I attract them to attend the meeting, and then equally important, how do I successfully convert visitors into members, into applications submitted? How do I do those things? It all starts with what Dr. Meisner talks about, the radio station that people are listening to, right? WIIFM. What's in it for me? So what we want to do in a smaller chapter like yours, where we're really looking to grow, is we say, what is the strength of the chapter? Which power teams do we currently have in place? Even though we're small, we've got 2 or 3 bragging buddy pairs that are working. What are they focused on? And then we talk that language to the prospect. And it looks something like this. You're a business builder, Chuck. Your bragging buddy's a business builder. You want to attract a caterer and the florist. We talk to a caterer and florist that we either know or were referred to by someone we know, like and trust. They create a warm referral. They're looking to grow their business. And so now we're talking to the event planner. And when we're talking to the event planner, as we'll get into a little script and dialogue next week, we're basically simply saying, are you interested in building your business? Would you like to get more referrals from people who know you, like you, and trust you, who are sending an ongoing stream of warm prospects to you? Well, of course you would. If not, who can we talk to in your business who is looking to build their business? But more than likely, they're going to say, sure, I'd love to have more referrals. Well, I'd like to invite you to meet some of my Power Team partners. These are people that might become good referral sources for you. Let me tell you how that works. We're focused on helping businesses make more money in their business. As an event planner, you can be helping us create client appreciation events. It's an overlooked opportunity where businesses are constantly chasing people they've never met, new clients, spending a lot of money, time, and resources with advertising and marketing, trying to flag down people they've never met or done business with to now start doing business. What we're showing people is how to build relationships stronger and deeper so that we get more and more referrals from people who we're already doing business with. And our group, as we're helping business builders build their business, we're looking for an event planner and a caterer who can help us put some of these client appreciation events, open house events, product launch events together, because it's going to help our clients build their business. Would you be interested in meeting my Power Team partners who could become referral sources for you for this type of work? Would that be of interest to you? Well, sure. So, and then you invite them to the meeting. You're basically talking to them in their own language. Let's use the same example with health and wellness. The health and wellness business contact sphere. You're in the business builder key situation. Business builders are overworked. Many times they're tired. They just don't have the focus or the stamina because they're so busy building the business. They would benefit from proper nutrition, from personal fitness, all these type of things. We can identify, and I'm going to show you this here in just 1 second on the Power Team Roster Success Worksheet, how we identify the open business categories, and then we systematically begin to invite them into the chapter and the Power Team, because it benefits our target market, and we can now show them, in some cases, a new way of creating business for themselves that they weren't currently looking at. When we're talking to the nutritionist, the massage therapist, the personal trainer, we can use the same theme, if you will, that we did with event services. Would you like to be introduced to a series of people who are in business that could benefit from better nutrition, from more energy, more focus, more stamina? Of course you would. So I'm hoping that that makes sense, and we'll open it up a little bit. Anybody have comments or feedback on how we can use this tendency matrix to not only identify people in the group right now we can network with, but open business categories, and then in fact how to dialogue with those open business categories based on our strengths. Be sure to watch webinar 12, whichever part pertains to to your contact sphere, and that'll help you really get a handle on this, move forward quickly, and then you can watch the other parts if you want to put yourself in the shoes of the other people in your BNI chapter. Next week, we're going to talk more about inviting people, and one of the things that we can do when we invite visitors to our BNI meeting, when they walk in, everybody's a visitor host, and I won't give away the whole training right now, but basically, when a visitor walks in to the BNI meeting, you can use this tendency matrix to say, okay, what contact sphere is the visitor in, right? What contact sphere is the visitor in? You could even look at it. You could have a cheat sheet, okay? What contact sphere is this person in? And then what's the tendency for that contact sphere? Are they a real estate and finance person? Chances are they're going to want to talk to prospects who are getting married, having babies, and want to buy or sell property, right? So you can actually use this to invite the visitor to talk to other people during open networking. In other words, if you have a caterer or a florist or a photographer that specializes in the wedding business, and a realtor or an insurance person walks into your BNI meeting as a visitor, we want to convert them into members. And as we'll talk about more next week, we convert them into members when they see themselves making money. And wouldn't it be neat to invite that person to walk across the room and talk to the event planner, and we can start showing the real estate and finance person, insurance person, whatever it might be, how they can get referrals from a caterer and a florist. Do you think that's going to make an impression on them? Absolutely will. Yeah, you betcha. And so we're going to get into this more and more over the next couple weeks, but I wanted to, kind of get the conversation flowing this week. All right, so I want to put something new up on the screen, which I don't believe you've seen yet, and this is called the Power Team Roster Success Worksheet. Now, I did send this to Chuck. I might have sent it to one or two people on the line, but I invite you all to take me up on this offer. The Power Team Roster Success Worksheet is an interactive form that we can use together where you complete the stuff in light blue, which is the chapter name, the chapter size 90 days ago and today, and then some of the key statistics, how many referrals per member per week over the last 6 months and then 3 months, how many visitors per week over those time frames, and how many new members. This will help me see what's really going on in the chapter. But the real action here is on page 2 and 3 of this worksheet. This is where I'm going to ask you to complete the roster part, the part in light blue. In other words, in the business services contact sphere for your chapter, which business categories do you currently have and what's the member's name? So if you have 5 people in business services in your chapter, there'll be 5 business categories here and then 5 member names here. Event services, how many do you have? What are their categories? What are their names? And then you literally complete that on page 3 with the other 3 contact spheres. So we go through all 6 contact spheres, and you're going to type in which business categories and what the name of those members are for your particular chapter. That's all you have to do. I'm going to go through an analysis of your chapter roster, identifying how many members are relevant to each of the 6 key situations, how many are currently involved as bragging buddies, and then how many are currently implementing systematic visibility. I'll do all the work here. All you need to do is fill out the categories and names that are actually in your chapter. It doesn't take me very long at all. It's very systematic to do this. And then I complete the dashboard for your chapter. And then I'll explain this next time. But basically, I go through what are the top opportunities for systematic visibility in your chapter. Number 1, which people should be networking together? And then number 2, what levels of systematic visibility should they be implementing? And we always start with 1 through 4, okay? But we identify money on the table for your chapter. And then we also talk about what we were mentioning earlier. What are the contact spheres with open business categories that your chapter needs to attract to build your chapter, build your power teams, and do it with a strong conversion ratio on your visitors? So I will actually complete the power team dashboard for your chapter, and then we can get into specific guidelines, specific advice on how this should be implemented on your chapter. That's why I want to keep up to date on the Bragging Buddy tally sheet so I know who's doing what and how I can best serve you and your group, okay? So we just covered page 24 in your workbook, and now we're going to advance through to page 26, okay? So everybody go ahead and turn to page 26. And here we're talking about the Power Team Planning Meeting, okay? So the Power Team Planning Meeting is a one-off meeting. It's just a quick little meeting where you're going to make a plan for your actual first power team meeting, okay? So you're ready to join up at this point with another bragging buddy group, and the idea is that you want to expand systematic visibility with the new bragging buddies, right? You're already creating referrals for your one bragging buddy. Now you're going to join forces with another duo or trio. They're creating referrals for each other too. That's why you're getting together. You're ready to form a power team. And so now you're going to bring those new bragging buddies into the fold, and you're going to start expanding systematic visibility to include them, okay? You're going to continue your one-to-one weekly meetings. You'll have bragging buddy meeting number 1 and 2 with your new bragging buddy meetings. Beyond that, you'll do your ongoing agenda. We covered all that stuff in the prior webinar. But now we're going to hold a power team planning meeting, okay? You've got these new bragging buddies, duo or trio that you want to work with, and so you're going to have your power team planning meeting. So now's the time to identify other members of your networking group who have, number 1, completed boot camp, number 2, have one or more matching key situations with you and your bragging buddy and are ready to commit to a power team, okay? So we want to identify other members of your group who meet those criteria, and you're going to say, look, let's get together to start forming a power team. So to do that, you have your first planning meeting, and the agenda is very, very simple, and you see it on page 26. The 4 of you, 5 or 6 of you that are coming together to form a power team, all you're going to do is say who's going to run the meeting. Okay, the leader doesn't have to be a permanent position. You can rotate leadership. It's basically who's going to run the meeting when we get together. How often are we going to meet? Or as a power team, are we going to meet once a week, every week, once a month, every 2 weeks? Recommendation is that if you're up and running at this point, you might want to meet once a week, at least for a few weeks, and then go to every other week, and then kind of see what fits best for the group. But it's up to you how often the power team will meet, and then you'll start selecting the new bragging buddies where you're going to rotate those bragging buddy boot camp meetings. Okay, so this is the planning meeting. All right. So now we're going to go to the next page, which is page 27. Okay, page 27. And here we're through the point of the planning meeting, and now we're basically halfway through the workbook. We've got a newly formed group of 4 to 9 people, and now we're going to start picking up momentum as a power team. We're going to gain visibility with the new power team people we brought in. We're going to do our boot camp meetings with those people. We're going to participate in the planning meeting that we just talked about. And now the new action here is that we're going to get into the power team meeting agenda. Okay, the power team meeting agenda. And so here's the agenda that you're going to be running. This is the ongoing agenda that your power team will be implementing, and we'll see what this looks like now. Again, you will have picked the frequency of your meetings, either once, twice a month, or every week. And I'm going to get you to start reviewing the Power Team Action Grid now, and we'll show you that here in just a quick moment. The Power Team Action Grid you'll find in a lot of different places, both in the Money on the Table book and the Power Team Certified Workbook. So we'll look at that in a moment, what this action grid is. You're going to implement reverse visibility. Okay, this is where you're going to say, these are my clients, these are my new clients. You're going to go through the profile that we covered in a prior webinar. You're going to make your clients visible at each of these meetings so that the other members of the power team can say, hey, I can see some opportunity here. Have you talked to your client about my products and services that so and so forth that might be relevant to them? So reverse visibility is part of the ongoing agenda. Then what we were just talking about, open business categories that are strategic. What categories are open? How can we attract them into the network? And then number 4, review visitors to the networking group meeting. That's your BNI meeting. Who visited the chapter this past week? Does the visitor have a relevant product or service for our power team? And let's make a plan to follow up with that person to recruit them in. So building the BNI chapter is a big part of the power team's activity, particularly when that new person has a relevant product or service for our group, for our power team, okay? Depending on the time, we can do a spotlight to brainstorm for a featured member where we pick one power team member for each meeting. If we have time for that, we can brainstorm, talk about ideas. What's their biggest challenge at the moment? How can we help them? And then we can also talk about Salesforce updates, review, and critique. That's your Salesforce update for your BNI chapter meeting when you're going around the table. Okay, so this is the Power Team meeting agenda. This is the ongoing meeting. At different points, you'll emphasize different elements on the agenda. Rare is the time where you'll do a thorough job on all 6, but you can kind of pick and choose depending on where your group is at. The idea being that it will vary based on what's cooking with your power team.